Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule has opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond in your top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video. Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm bringing you guys a Meta Monday. So this is the first full Meta Monday we'll have of the new set, so I'm excited. New expansion came out. I think we've had over a week now to kind of go over it. We finally have players at Masters, enough people at Masters to where we can use Masters data across all regions. So very, very exciting stuff. I'm excited to finally jump in and see what the meta looks like now that it's a little bit more, kind of polished. Not super polished because, again, we are only like 2 weeks in. Like week and a half to 2 weeks in, so the meta's definitely not going to be defined or anything by this point, but it is going to be a little bit more under control and kind of have an idea of what's actually working and what's, not just abusing day one brews. At this point, we've had time to give decks a little bit of a polish, like we see this Viego, Elise, Katarina deck that I showed in my last Meta Monday, talking about how, this deck had like a really insane win rate. It was the highest win rate deck in the game, and I then put out a video showing off how broken it is, and it's definitely an insane deck. Excuse me. And you see here, now it's all the way up on the second winner. I'm not going to say I did that, but I definitely posted a lot of videos and got kind of hoped I brought some attention to it at the very least. So very cool. And this could show you that if you watch my Meta Mondays, if you guys didn't even know about this, if I wasn't even, the one that made it popular, which, I'm not going to say I am or not. So if I wasn't the one that made it popular, I definitely talked about it a week ago. So if you want to get ahead of the meta and you're trying to figure out what decks, what to play to get kind of ahead of the meta, this is the YouTube channel for you, because I called out that this deck was absolutely insane, and now look at it. It's the second most played deck in Masters right now. The win rate's not the greatest, but I think it's kind of people practicing and learning it out because this is a new deck. But yeah, it's super up there. So if you want that advanced, that advanced tech, make sure to subscribe. This is the place to get it. So let's go ahead and please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy content, if you want to get a jump on the meta stuff like that, like I already said, we'll also be going through the highest win rate decks at the end of this. So be sure to stick around for that. And then leave a comment down below letting me know what type of videos you like to see. If you like the gameplay videos, Meta Mondays, stuff like that, let me know. I have a couple videos lined up. I have like a lurk video coming up, and I have a video coming up, a little spoiler here, we're going to skip down here, but this Galio Bard deck's looking like insane, so we're going to go ahead and make a video on that as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the top 8 most played decks in Masters Ladder right now and what you can kind of expect to be, see what the meta looks like. So deck number 1 is Thralls. Whoa, what a surprise. Thralls is being heavily played right now. 2 things. These are my personal opinions. 1, I don't think Thralls is nearly the problem that other people think it is. And I'm not going to call people out or name names or anything like that because I just don't care enough to start any type of drama. But there are definitely people that do nothing but complain about Thralls. There are people that they've complained about Thralls basically since it came out. And I'm not one of those people. Maybe I just got lucky and all the decks I play beat Thralls. But I think Thralls is a very polarized deck. And it's one of those where it beats its good matchups really hard, as we see here with 92% win rate. But at the same time, it loses to his matchups really hard at this, 13% win rate. So it's one of those decks where it's like, yes, if you play a deck that loses to Lissandra, you're going to get farmed. But the good news is there are plenty of decks out there that are good into Lissandra and are also good decks, like Katarina, Elise, Viego. Like Viego, I'm just going to call it Viegonox, because really these champions could be whatever. But Viegonox, good into Thralls, general, really good deck. Alawi Demacia, good into Thralls, good generalized deck. Like Pantheon, good into Thralls, and good into just like, generalized deck. Like there are plenty of decks out there that beat Thralls while also beat a bunch of other things out there. So I think this notion of like, oh, Thralls is super broken is a lot of times from people that kind of get high rolled by it, and they're like, oh my god, I got high rolled by it with a bad hand, therefore Thrall's broken. It's like, no, you kind of just had a shit hand against, a good deck that's going to punish you for it. That's really any tier 1 deck. And also people that play the decks that lose to Thralls and then complain about, oh, I just lost to Thralls. You know, that'd be like saying that you're a burn player and the number 1 deck right now is like, I don't know, some type of go hard or super like life gain deck. It's like, yeah, you're going to complain about the life gain deck because you're out here playing burn. You know, like, just find decks that can beat Thralls. And, you know, this is how I look at it. This is my view on ladder. Is you either pick decks that are good into the top decks here, or you pick decks that are good into everything else and just accept the fact that 8% of your games on average, you know, you're just going to play against a Thralls deck and lose. This is like literally less than 1 in every 10 games. Like, I play like 10 games a day right now. About that much. I play about 10 games a day. And so on average, I shouldn't even be seeing 1 Thralls of these like a day. So if I do, I just like queue into it once a day and be like, oh, okay, this is my loss. This is my loss against Thralls. Oh, well. Like, I decided to make the decision. And don't complain about it. I hate going on Twitter. My timeline the last couple days has literally been nothing but people going like, wah, Thralls broken, wah. Wah, Thralls got 4 Thralls on turn 5 against me. Wah. Like, no one cares, dude. Like, I'll be honest with you. No one cares about your game with Thralls. Because guess what? Everybody here has to play against Thralls. Everybody here has gotten 4 Thralls against them on turn 5. You know, the difference is some of us play decks that beat Thralls, and some of us don't. But if you specifically play a deck that is weak into Thralls, don't tweet about your Thralls loss, because that you're asking to lose to Thralls with your deck. So that's my 2 cents. Stop going on Twitter about Thralls. No one cares. Not a single person cares. No one asked. Like, you're gonna get who asked? No one. No one asked about your opinion on Thralls. No one cares about how many times you've been high rolled by Thralls. Deck number 2. I get frustrated just thinking about the people that tweet about Thralls. I get more frustrated at the people on Twitter that talk about Thralls than I do at the actual deck Thralls itself. Number 2, Viegonox, second most played deck. Again, this deck it had like a 0.5% play rate last week or something like that. And now it's jumped all the way up to the second most played deck in Masters. Again, the win rate isn't the craziest, about 52% win rate. But also, I want to put like a little asterisk here is for play rate. I would not be surprised if this was actually the most played deck on Masters Ladder, because I think this is only taking into consideration exactly Viego, Elise, Katarina decks. But if we scroll and look, I wonder if we'll find, yeah, see, this is like just Viego, Elise. And so like there's another, this is 1.7 play rate. And then let's see if we find one that's just like just Viego, Kindred or something like that, right? Like, that's not it. But there's just like so many other variants of the deck. Like, you have my deck, which is like Viego, Kindred, Elise, Katarina. That's gonna be its own deck. And then you have this one, which is just where's it at? Where it's just Viego, Elise. You know, that's another 1.7% play rate. So you add that onto here, you're already up to, you know, this is like 6.5% play rate. So if you put in all the variants of this like Viegonox, it probably has the same, if not higher play rate than like Thralls. It's probably pretty close. Whereas Thralls, you don't have different variants. It's basically just Lysandra Talia. Whereas, you know, the Viegonoxes, it's probably more up there. And its win rate is probably a little bit higher if I had to guess. But anyways, deck's very good. This deck beats a lot of just kind of other mid-range decks. It's the anti-mid-range deck is how I've been describing it. Because you get to play things like these big ol' Legion Deserters. You play big ol' Encroaching Mist with your Viegos. And then, of course, a leveled Viego just destroys any other mid-range deck. Destroys deep. Alawi's not usually a good matchup it's not a good matchup for Alawi. Most of the time, you just end up beating Alawi, stuff like that. So, it's pretty solid deck. Very, very good. Honestly, it was like one of the most hyped up decks coming into this weekend's tournaments. Big shout out to this deck. It's really good. I highly recommend this. If you like mid-range decks, I highly recommend Viego Noxus. This has been my go-to deck for ladder the last couple days. Next, what do we have? We have Annie Ezreal. So this is kind of like the Tri-Beam deck. Oh no, this is not a Tri-Beam deck. This is just the Ezreal, Annie, Raven Blue Conservator deck. So basically, this deck is just hard mulligan for Annie, hard mulligan for Conservatory, and then you're just playing it as like, you know, this little pseudo control deck. This is a very, very control style deck. You see, there's no Tri-Beam, so this is not going to be a tempo or a mid-range style deck like the Ezreal Caitlyn or like the old, you know, Draven Ezreal used to be. Where those decks, some people call them control, but realistically, those decks were more mid-rangey because they played, you know, very good cards all the way through, and then they would out-tempo swing you you with like a really big tri-beam, right? Where they tri-beam, destroy your really big unit, and then summon a really big unit. And that's usually how they ended games. Whereas here, with Annie Ezreal, they really only win games with Ravenbloom Conservatory by going like, okay, play your really big Tybulk, make your spell start doing more, and then just kind of like ping your face and burn you out at that point. But this deck is also a lot weaker, whereas if they don't have that Ravenbloom Conservatory, their deck just really isn't that good. It doesn't have very many win conditions outside of like leveled Ezreal. So this deck really, really needs to draw the Ravenbloom Conservatory, whereas the Caitlyn Ezreal deck didn't really need to draw Tri-Beam. It was just, if you drew Tri-Beam, you probably won the game. Next up, we have Bard Zed. So deck's coming in with a lot of play rate. I also made a video on this deck last week as well. It's basically, yeah, well, this deck is really weird because this one doesn't play any spells, which is really funny. I don't really know if I 100% agree with this, but it makes a lot of sense. If you just want chimes, you just want units. This is a 0 spell deck. I might have to make a video on this variation of 0 spells. That's pretty funny looking. But yeah, basically the idea is you have Bard chimes. Chimes go onto elusive units or onto Zed, and then you kind of just take over the game with really broken elusive units. Overstatted, unblockable units tend to kind of close games out really quickly. So this is a very interesting version with 0 spells. Again, I would be very interested in playing this and trying it out. I might make a video on it. I kind of put out a Zed elusive video last week, but let me know if you guys want me to put out a video specifically on this no spells deck, because I think that'd be a pretty interesting deck to watch. All right, so we're halfway done. So deck number 5 is Burn, Jhin Annie Burn. I really like Jhin Annie Burn. I think it has like a really low win rate right now because I legitimately think players are playing it poorly. I think players are playing this deck poorly. I'm playing it right now. It doesn't even play Doom Beast. Like, I don't play Doom Beast in my version. And I think people are just playing Burn incorrectly. I brought Burn to the $500 Mastering Runeterra tournament this weekend. I brought a triple Burn lineup. I brought Jhin Annie, Pirates, and just PNG Noxus championless Burn. And Pirates actually shit the bed every round. Both rounds, I lost 2 rounds. I went 5-2. Barely missed top 8. I got 10th because of tiebreakers. So barely missed out on top 8. Pirates lost me both rounds. This deck was really good. And then PNZ Noxus championless Burn was really good. And I actually think that Burn right now in tournaments is insanely cracked. If we take a look at what the top 8 was of OLS, let's come here. Let's go to Mr. Boulevard. Oh boy, Boulevard. If we go to Caster Boulevard, look at the top 8 of OLS. Sundisk, Tribute Control, Bandle Control. So this is like Noxus, Swain. Or sorry, this is usually like Noxus, Bandle City. It's like PNZ, Noxus Control. But you play it with Bandle City, so you just get to play like a bunch of Conservatory. Bard Galio, Ruben Pyle, which is PNZ, Targon. Noxus Viego, Timelines, Aphelios, Thralls, Riven Fizz, Victor Ionia, Aphelios, Annie Ezreal, Larry J4 Jarvan. Burn, not aggro, not swarm aggro, but Burn specifically beats this. Not, this is going to be close. It depends on how much healing they have. If this deck has a lot of healing, like if it has, the 5-mana spell that heals a lot of Star Shaping. If it plays Star Shaping, you're probably not favored. If it doesn't play Star Shaping, you're going to be favored. It beats us. Depends on the build. Lose. Win. If they get Eye of the Dragon, you lose. If they don't get Eye of the Dragon, you win. Win. If they play, depends on the amount of healing, but probably lose. Win. So you lose 1.5, 2.5 to 3. You lose 2.5 to 3 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of the 15 decks here. So you're beating almost 75% of all the decks that top 8'd with mono Burn. Not Swarm, not aggro, but Burn. Now I want to get the words correctly. Don't say aggro wins. I'm going to say Burn wins. So this deck is extremely good and just kind of, I don't want to be egotistical, but everyone, I'm pretty sure, is just playing this deck incorrectly. Because when good players are playing this deck and play this deck well, it wins. And I think this deck's actually not the easiest to play. Even I was playing it with my, in the tournament, and I was playing pretty poorly. I literally threw away a game, which could have cost me my top 8, because I just didn't play correctly. I didn't play towards gen level up correctly, and I kind of, misordered my units and didn't effectively use all of my unit mana. So I think if people played this deck correctly, the win rate would go up. But people just have this idea of like, oh, me play burn, me click units and put them on board, and that's why all these aggro decks and burn decks usually have low win rates. But I think it's really solid, and I think triple burn is really good in the meta right now for tournaments. All right, Fizz of Phalios. Not really much to be said. This deck is just still good. Nothing in it got nerfed for some reason. So because of that, it's the exact same deck as last season. You're just a really broken deck where you put Elusive or Double Strike on your Fizz, or you put Elusive onto a Hungry Owlcat, and you kind of just win the game. Number 7 is Deep. Deep's not doing too hot. You see here, 48% win rate. I think it's because a lot of the decks being played right now kind of beat Deep. I think Deep would be really good into like an aggressive style meta, but we aren't in an aggressive style meta. We're in a very big mid-range meta, and Deep kind of just loses to a lot of these big mid-range decks. Like Deep loses to Elusives. Deep's gonna lose to Burn. Deep's gonna lose to this, aggro deck. Deep probably beats the Lowry Jarvan, but we'd have to see. And it loses to like Viegonoxes. I think Deep versus Thralls is very close. I remember talking to Thrall God Cameron Hanzo, and he was saying that Deep beats Lissandra sometimes, but sometimes Lissandra just like absolutely smokes Deep. I think it's just very much a coin flip matchup there, but I just think this isn't the meta for Deep. But I think Deep is a extremely powerful deck. I think is really strong, and I think in the right meta, Deep is easily one of the top decks in the game. And for the 8th deck here to round things out, we are going to be looking at Bard Galio. And this list is crazy. This deck is crazy. It only plays one rally, like one Golden Ages. It doesn't even play like a bunch of rallies. And I'm super interested to see how this deck does. If you guys are interested and want to see me make a Bard Galio video, if you want to see me make a Bard Galio deck guide kind of video, let me know down in the comments below, because I might just, have to make this deck and play it just like I did with the Viegonox deck. The Viegonox deck wasn't getting played too much, but at a high win rate. I put the video out there. People loved it. If you want to see that with this Galio Bard deck, again, the play rate's kind of up there. It's in the top 8 most played decks. But this number could definitely be a lot higher for the win rate. Like having a 55% win rate is really good. So let's see here. Where does it fall on the win rate? Hello? Thank you. All right, on the win rate list, let's look at the most winning decks. So that was your top 8 most played decks. Let me know if you want to see that Bard Galio deck. It's kind of just like a mid-range deck that abuses chimes onto its units and just wins with big challenger chimed units. So now we're going to look at the most winningest decks. Let's see, we got Victor Ezreal. Is this just like a Glorious Evolution deck? Yeah. It's just like a Shellfolk deck, so it's cringe Shellfolk deck, combo deck here. More PNZ. Yeah, so things seem to be pretty normal, and then we're fall back down to 55% win rate. So nothing really sticks out here. Nothing has like some crazy win rate. It's basically just the only 2 decks above a 55% win rate is Riven Fizz combo, which is pretty interesting. It's just, put spells on my Fizz and OTKU, or my Riven and OTKU, and the like cringy Shellfolk Ezreal Victor list. So neither of these very exciting. Very cool to see that at least some of these like lesser played decks are able to go up in win rate, but it's what it is. Nobody likes Shellfolk. If you legitimately enjoy playing Shellfolk, you have really nice friends. If they continue to stay friends with you, you're probably a very boring person. So shout out to all the people that are actually friends with Shellfolk enjoyers. I don't know how you guys put up with them, but you're the real ones out here holding down the fort. So that's going to be it for this Meta Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments again what decks, if any of these decks super interest you. Do you want me to make a deck guide on them? Want me to play them? There's like Zero Spell deck or the Galio Bar deck. Let me know in the comments down below. That's going to be it for this Meta Monday, and I'll see you guys in the next video.